Medea's custody battle. This is, without a doubt, the most disturbing breakup in history. Medea was a powerful sorceress who helped her husband Jason get everything. But when he dumped her for a younger princess, she did not take it well. She enacted a horrifying revenge. She murdered Jason's new wife, and then, to really hurt him, she murdered their own 2 children. It's the ultimate act of vengeance. But the story is famously complex. In the Greek play, Medea is an outsider who gives a powerful speech about the gender inequality of her time. Her horrific act is often read as the final desperate rebellion of a woman who had all her power taken away. But here's the real twist. Some older local versions of the myth suggest Medea didn't kill her children. The people of Corinth did. The playwright Euripides may have changed the story to make it more shocking, turning a tragic figure into one of history's most infamous monsters. That was a disaster of the heart. But this next one is a disaster of the stomach. The Curse of Erysichthon. Ever been so hungry you could eat a horse? Meet King Erysichthon. He decided to build a new feast hall and picked a sacred grove as his lumberyard. The goddess Demeter warned him to stop, but he didn't. So she cursed him with insatiable hunger. Food acted like fuel on a fire. The more he ate, the hungrier he got. He devoured his entire fortune. He sold all his possessions. He even sold his own daughter into slavery, just to buy more food. When there was absolutely nothing left to eat, Erysichthon ate himself. This story is a terrifying metaphor. His name means tearer up of the earth. It's a direct warning about what happens when greed leads to unstoppable consumption. Eventually, you have no choice but to consume yourself. The first giant, Ymir. The Norse creation myth is the original DIY project, and it's horrifying. It begins with a world made by murder. The gods Odin, and Ve killed the first living being, a hermaphroditic being named Ymir. Then they built the entire world from his corpse. His flesh became the earth. His blood became the sea. His bones and teeth became the mountains and rocks. His skull was hoisted up to become the sky. And his brains? They threw those into the air and they became the clouds. So next time you look at a beautiful fluffy cloud, just remember, you're staring at a dead giant's brains. This wasn't just for shock value. It established the core Norse worldview that creation isn't peaceful. It's born from violent conflict, and destruction. Loki's family ties. And you thought your family was dysfunctional. After Loki caused the death of the god Balder, the other gods decided he had finally crossed a line. Their punishment is one of the most gruesome in all mythology. They captured Loki, then brought in his 2 sons. They turned one son into a wolf who promptly killed his brother. Then the gods took the entrails of the slain son. They turned into iron chains and used them to bind Loki to 3 rocks inside a cave. As a final touch, they placed a venomous snake above his head, dripping venom on his face for all eternity. This wasn't random cruelty. Loki caused a father, Odin, to lose his son Balder. The god's revenge was a horrific son for a son, using Loki's own children as the very instruments of his torment. Fenrir's big gulp. Fenrir was a monstrous wolf, and another one of Loki's kids. The gods heard a prophecy that this wolf would one day kill Odin. So they decided to chain him up, but they did it under the guise of a game. They kept bringing Fenrir stronger and stronger chains, joking that he couldn't break them. The wolf, being suspicious, finally agreed to try the unbreakable chain, but only if one god would place a hand in his mouth as a guarantee of their good faith. The god Tyr, the only one brave enough, volunteered. When Fenrir realized he was trapped and that the gods had broken their oath, he bit down, and Tyr lost his hand. This is a tragedy of a self-fulfilling prophecy. The gods' divine fear and their betrayal intensified his resentment, ensuring his wrath will be unstoppable. Speaking of Loki's very messed up family, let's meet his daughter. The realm of Hel. Meet Hel, the Norse goddess of the underworld. She's also Loki's daughter. Her realm isn't fire and brimstone, it's just depressing. But the most disturbing part is Hel herself. Her appearance is a walking paradox. She is half her body alive and beautiful, the other half dark and decayed. Or, as another text puts it, half blue-black and half flesh color. Her dinner plate is called hunger. Her knife is famine. Her bed is disease. But here's the secret. This comically over-the-top version was likely a later distortion. The original Hel was just a neutral or hidden place for the dead. The scary version we know was probably influenced by Christian Hell, which distorted the original myth so much our word hell comes from her name. Baba Yaga's house rules. In Slavic folklore, you do not want to get lost in the woods. You might find the hut of Baba Yaga. She's a ferocious-looking old woman with iron teeth for eating children. She flies around in a wooden mortar, and her house runs around on giant chicken legs. But Baba Yaga isn't a simple villain. She's ambiguous. She's a catalyst for change. In one story, an evil stepmother sends her stepdaughter to Baba Yaga's hut to die. Baba Yaga gives the girl impossible house chores, but the girl is kind and completes them. As a reward, Baba Yaga sends her home with riches. The stepmother, seeing this, sends her own lazy, rude daughter. This time, Baba Yaga eats her up and sends her home as a bag of bones. You just never know which version you'll get. The Rusalka's bad breakup. The Rusalka is a Slavic water demon, but she wasn't always. Originally, she was a benevolent spirit of the water. The myth changed. Now she's the ghost of a young woman who died an unnatural, violent death. Specifically, she drowned. Often she's a girl who took her own life due to an unhappy romantic situation, or was murdered by a man who impregnated her. Now, a vengeful spirit, she lures men, especially unfaithful ones, to the water's edge. And then, in a perverse twist, she tickles him until his lungs give out. This is social horror. The Rusalka is a tragic monster trapped in perpetual puberty, who embodies the impossible societal standards that led to her death. Sticking with Slavic folklore, if the Rusalka is the tragic spirit of the water, this next guy is its grumpy landlord. The Vodyanoi soul jars. If Baba Yaga rules the woods, the Vodyanoi rules the water. He's a male water spirit, often described as an old man with a frog face and algae-covered hair. He's a grumpy old man who breaks dams and drowns people who swim after sunset or disrespect his water. He then drags people down to his underwater dwelling to serve him as slaves. But the most chilling detail of all, the Vodyanoi keeps their souls in small porcelain cups. This isn't just a scary story. It's a boogeyman myth with a very practical purpose. It was used a lot to scare children from going swimming and thus drowning. For villagers, belief in this monster wasn't superstition. It was survival. The Gashadokuro. Now we travel to Japan. If you're walking alone at night and hear a buzzing sensation in your ears, it's already too late. That's the only warning you get before the Gashadokuro or starving skeleton attacks. This skeletal giant is 15 times larger than a human being and makes a gachi-gachi rattling sound as it moves. It's formed from the piles of bones of people who died from famine or on the battlefield and were not buried. The Gashadokuro is the accumulation of hundreds of people's agony. It's a curse, born not of evil but of neglect. These dishonored souls rise up as one giant monster to cut off the heads of solitary travelers to drink their blood. Kuchisake Onna's big question. This is the ultimate no-win social interaction. The Kuchisake Onna, or slit-mouthed woman, is a tall woman in a surgical mask who approaches you at night. She asks a simple question. Am I pretty? If you say no, she stabs you to death. If you say yes, she removes her mask, revealing a gruesome smile carved into her face, stretching from ear to her ears. She then asks, "Still think I'm pretty?" Say no or scream and she kills you. Say yes, again, and she cuts the corners of your mouth to look just like hers. This modern urban legend caused a real-world panic in 1970s Japan, with police and teachers personally escorting children home. It's a terrifying story that reflects urban anxiety about beauty standards. Japan's urban legends seem to love an omutio, impossible choice. But this next one puts you in the worst place imaginable, aka Manto's red or blue. Here's another no-win scenario, this time in a school bathroom. The Akamanto, or red cloak, is a spirit that haunts bathroom stalls, often the fourth stall, since 4 is associated with death. When you sit down and realize there's no toilet paper, a voice asks, red paper or blue paper? Choose red paper, and you are slashed violently until your clothes are soaked in blood like a red cloak. Choose blue paper, and the spirit strangles or drains all the blood from your body, leaving you a blue-tinged corpse. If you try to be clever and ask for yellow paper, you get drowned in the toilet. This myth is a direct allegory for the anxieties of school life, the impossible choice, mirrors the pressure students face when they're put on the spot. The teke teke. This Japanese vengeful spirit is the ghost of a young woman, sometimes a schoolgirl, who fell on a railway line. She was cut in half by an oncoming train. Now she is a legless ghost who travels on her hands or elbows, making the horrifying take scraping sound. She is unnaturally fast and will chase anyone she encounters. Then she slices them in half at the waist to make them look just like her. One version of the legend makes it even sadder. After the accident, the girl was still alive. The severe cold kept her from bleeding out quickly. She crawled to a train station, but the attendant just covered her with a plastic tarp instead of helping. Her rage isn't just about her death, it's about the cruelty and isolation of the modern world. Tamino's Hell. This is a myth about a myth. Tamino's Hell is a real 1919 poem by a Japanese author. The poem itself is strange and symbolic. But in 2004, an urban legend started. A creepypasta that claimed if you read Tamino's Hell out loud, you will suffer misfortune or death. This, of course, isn't true. But the disturbing part is how this fake curse has obscured the real disturbing meaning of the poem. It's not a curse, it's symbolist art. Scholars suggest the hell in the poem is a metaphor for war, as it was written right after World War I. Others suggest it's about the poet's emotional distress and survivor's guilt. The hell is depression. The modern curse story is just a misunderstanding of a much more profound personal tragedy. So, a scary poem was just a misunderstanding. The Manananggal. In Philippine folklore, there is a creature called the aswang. The Manananggal is one of the most terrifying types. She's a creature that is able to separate its upper torso from the lower part of its body. Her name literally means remover or separator. At night, her top half grows large bat-like wings and flies off to hunt, leaving her legs stationary. And her preferred prey? Sleeping, pregnant women. She lands on the roof and uses an elongated, proboscis-like tongue. It goes through the ceiling and extracts fetuses from the womb. The only way to kill her is to find her abandoned lower half and apply salt, garlic, or ash. This prevents her from recombining before sunrise, which is believed to die. Rakshasa. The Rakshasa from Hindu and Buddhist mythology is the original catfish. It's a man-eater and a shapeshifter that is a total master of illusion. It can assume the form of any creature, but female Rakshasas, or Rakshasi, are known to turn into beautiful women to seduce their victims and then kill them. The horror here is paranoia. You never really know if the person you're talking to is actually a demon. The most famous modern version from Dungeons & Dragons is a tiger-headed demon with backward-handed palms. The myth is a powerful warning to watch closely where form and intention diverge. It warns that evil can easily hide behind a beautiful face. Now let's go to the ancient Egyptian afterlife. You stand before the scales of justice. Your heart is weighed against a single feather. If you were a good person, you pass. But if you were bad, you meet Ammit. Ammit is the Devourer, a monster that is part crocodile, part lion, and part hippo. She waits by the scales. If your heart is heavy with sin, it's thrown to her and she eats it. This isn't just pain, this is non-existence. You don't go to hell. You are erased from the universe completely. The second death. To the Egyptians, being forgotten forever was a fate far worse than any torture. Being erased from existence is one terrifying fate. But what about a creature whose only job is to tell you that your time is up? The Dullahan. In Irish folklore, the Dullahan is the original headless horseman. He is a fairy creature who rides a demonic black horse. He has no head on his shoulders. Instead, he carries his own rotting head in his hand, holding it up like a lantern. The head's eyes dart around, able to see for miles in the dark. And his whip? It's made from a human spine. The Dullahan doesn't stop for just anyone. But if he stops his horse and calls out your name, someone in your house is about to die. You can't bar your doors. Locks fly open for him. Your only defense is gold. Even a single gold pin can scare him away. The Vitala. The Vitala is the Hindu version of the vampire. It's a spirit that haunts cemeteries and inhabits corpses in order to move around. They are famous for hanging upside down from trees in graveyards. But unlike a shuffling zombie, the Vitala is knowledgeable. It can see the past, present, and the future. The most famous stories involve a king forced to capture one. Every time he does, the Vatala tells him a story that ends in a complex riddle. The king, being wise, can't keep silent and answers, but answering the riddle allows the Vatala to escape. The disturbing monster is actually a clever vehicle for teaching moral and ethical dilemmas. We've met demons that trick your mind, but what about a monster that is the world around you? The Inkanyamba. In South Africa, the Zulu and Xhosa, people tell of a creature living in the Waterfall Lake area. It's the Inkanyamba, a giant serpent-like being with the head of a horse. But this isn't just a monster, it is the weather. The Inkanyamba's anger causes the seasonal storms. Locals believe tornadoes aren't weather, it's wrath. It is the personification of the power of nature, a force you don't fight, but one you appease. Local legend insists that if you even make eye contact with it, you are in danger of losing your life. It's a symbol of both the awe and danger of the natural world. La Llorona. La Llorona, or the Weeping Woman, is the most famous vengeful ghost in the Americas. The legend says a woman named Maria discovered her husband was unfaithful. In a fit of blind rage, she took her children to a river and drowned them. Realizing what she had done, she then drowned herself. Now she is doomed to wander near bodies of water, wailing, "Ay, mis hijos, oh my children." It's said that to hear her crying is an omen of misfortune or death. But this story is more than just a ghost story. It's a boogeyman tale told to scare children into good behavior and to deter children from playing near dangerous water. It's a cautionary tale that has kept a few adventurous kids from drowning. The Wendigo. The Wendigo is a terrifying creature from the folklore of Algonquin-speaking tribes. It's a cannibalistic ice giant born from winter famine. It is the personification of insatiable greed and the ultimate human taboo, cannibalism. But the Wendigo isn't just a monster you fight. The true horror is that you can become one. This myth is directly linked to a culture-bound syndrome called Wendigo psychosis, a mental illness with cannibalistic delusions. There are historical accounts like the 1878 case of Swift Runner, a man who killed and ate his family and insisted he had been possessed by the spirit of a Wendigo. So we have a ghost to keep kids from drowning and a monster to explain human greed. This next myth is a bit of both. The Kalupalik. This Inuit mythical creature is a child snatcher. The Kalupalik lives along Arctic shorelines near ice floes. It's described as having slimy green skin and long fingernails and reeks of sulfur. It steals children that wander too close to the water, snatching them and putting them in its amniotic or parka hood. The only warning? Before it strikes, you can sometimes hear them knocking on the ice from beneath. Like La Llorona, this is a boogeyman myth. It has a vital, practical purpose, protecting children from a dangerous environment, keeping them from wandering too close to the ice. It's a cautionary tale that personifies the very real danger of the ice. We've seen monsters that hide in the water, but this next one hides in plain sight. The Skinwalker. This one isn't a monster. It's a malevolent witch from Navajo tradition. The Navajo name Yi Naldlushi means, "with it he goes on all fours." This is a powerful sorcerer who gains the supernatural ability to transform into animals at will, like coyotes or wolves. The most disturbing part is how you become one. You must commit a heinous act like killing a family member as part of a dark initiation. This legend is deeply embedded in Navajo tradition and rarely discussed with outsiders. The modern disturbing fact is the bastardization and misinterpretation of this taboo concept. The internet and modern horror media have confused it with the Wendigo and Skinwalker Ranch. This creates a warped understanding that has nothing to do with the actual description of this specific cultural belief. The Kelpie. Let's head to Scotland. If you're by a lake and see a beautiful tame horse standing alone, it might look like a free ride, but it's not. This is the Kelpie. The moment you sit on its back, you are stuck fast. Its skin is magical and sticky. Then the horse dives straight into the deepest part of the water, dragging you down. It's not just drowning you for fun, it's taking you to its pantry. The Kelpie eats its victims completely, except for the liver, which floats to the surface later. It's a terrifying, stranger danger myth for the water. If something looks too good to be true, it probably wants to eat your liver. Totec. Let's end our world tour with a quick one from the Aztecs. The god Totec, which translates to Our Lord, the Flayed One. I'll give you one guess what his rituals involved. Priests honoring this god would, yes, flay a human sacrifice, and then wear their skin for days as it rotted off. It's one of the most visceral images in all of mythology. But it wasn't just cruelty. Totec was the god of spring and agriculture. This horrifying ritual was a metaphor for rebirth. It symbolized the dead outer husk of a corn seed being flayed away to reveal the new life inside, or the earth shedding its dead outer layer of winter to bring new life. It was a terrifying, bloody prayer for regeneration.